coming on these wings, like, you know, they look bright now, but they are very dank and depressing places, you know. You know, the cells are very small, black floors, you know, they'd have been shining, you know, they were shined every day. You would have had murals on the wall, like, but by and large, you know, it is a depressing place, you know, but the people inside obviously weren't depressed, you know, we just got on with it, and you had your good times as well, you know, you had a lot to laugh about as well. And you know, it actually looks smaller now, you know, we know people in, you know, to me, that when I came on it first, it actually looked very long and wide, and as you can see, it actually isn't, you know. By and large, it was a relief to come here. You wouldn't think it, looking at this jail now, it was a relief for someone like me to come back from England. Even to get here, you know, it was like a first step to freedom. You know, and you were along with all your friends and comrades, you know, obviously you knew a lot of people. You'd have met them through the years, you know, and you always ended up in jail with them, or you knew members of their family. Well, we were caught. I was caught in England, captured trying to steal explosives. We were set up by a so-called comrade, or whatever you would call him, a comrade. And we were then. I ended up 4 prisons in 2 years, and we ended up in Whitemore, which was the most oppressive jail in the system. And there had been a riot, and a lot of wings was burnt, and there were so many of us chosen to go on the boards or whatever, the punishment block. So me and my comrade Liam Heffernan joined 2 other IRA prisoners, Paddy Kelly and Phelim O'Hamel, on a dirty protest for about 3 months, and was part of a campaign to get moved back here. You know, at the time that the ceasefires and that was just starting, and a lot of talk. You know, there was a lot of positive talk, and you know, people here was in ceasefire, and the British system was at war. We also, you know, more oppressive than ever. We also, at that time in England, you know, so we embarked on the dirty protest, and after about 3 months they did move us back, you know. Obviously there was a lot of pressure brought to bear, and you know, there was a delegation, Irish parliamentary delegation from the Irish Labour Party came over to see us, and you know, they more or less assured us that things would work out all right, and true to the word it did. We were eventually moved back. You know, which was the very unusual part of it, is that we were category A prisoners, as it's called over there, and you know, your movements would be very strictly limited, and very few people would know, you know, your movements if you were getting moved to another jail or whatever. But I had phoned home, and my wife was able to tell me that we were getting moved the next day, and next morning my cell opened, and they don't tell you. You just say you're on the move. They don't tell you what prison you're going to, and they told us we were on the move. So it looked promising, and then we were down in reception, got our stuff, and the PO tried to be smart, saying, you know, it would be bad weather today, and the Isle of Man more or less hinting that we were going there, and I replied, no, it'd be nicer in Belfast, you know. So, and I knew by the shock in his face that that I was going home, because he didn't answer me, and he just turned and walked. So, you know, obviously at the Irish government and, you know, our comrades at home had been assured that we were getting moved, which was, you know, really unheard of at that time, that, you know, prisoners' movements would get out before they actually would where we're moved. Well, and you know, and Britain, the Screws controlled the jail and controlled everything. You know, even regard your visits, everything else, you know, strip searching, and you know, it was really repressive, and they let you know who was in charge and who was in charge. And when I came back here, like I was first in prison in Crumlin Road in 1979, and England would have been akin to that there. You know, like there was a POA sort of would have controlled the jail, and they weren't afraid to put the boot on as they were in England at that time, which was one of the reasons why we went under the protest. But when I came back here, I got a big culture shock. You know, there was no sort of enmity between the Screws and us, and you know, they'd call you by your first name and made you feel relaxed, and there was no sort of animosity at all. You know, I think at the end up then they were just sort of getting their time in, we were getting our time in, and you know, that was a big culture shock to me. You know, there was no sort of them and us. You know, there was a sort of truce call as well. You know, I think there was a ceasefire in the jails as well as outside the jails. You know. Well, you would woke in the morning here. You see, you know, at the end up being your cell was unlocked 24 hours, so you went up and you dived up first to try and get the papers first. So I was the one in the morning, you know, and I had your bit of breakfast. You'd have come down, lay in the bed to get reading the papers, and as you can see there, then they put facilities for to have your own television in here, you know. They put everything in properly, and you know, that was you know, if you did want a bit of time on your own or whatever, you could have tied your door up and put the TV on, lay there, or sit and, you know, you've done your bit of studying or whatever, like. But you know, the cells and all look really, really small. You know, at the time they didn't. You know, obviously when you had your bits and pieces in here, you know, they look far bigger. You know, for us it was a doddle at that stage. You know, when you think back at the blanket men and the hunger strikers and that, you know, what they went through, stuck in here with nothing, you know, but a blanket and you know, a foam mattress. Like, so what we had was comparative luxury compared to, you know, what people went through in the 80s, you know, but it's all part of the evolution of struggle, you could say. the last few days was like 2 years, you know, because you knew, you know, the battle was over at that stage. You had a bit, but you know, you were just cramming in time and getting your bits and pieces packed up, and you were sending stuff out, you know, the weeks before it and the days before it on your last few visits. And it was really, you know, the last couple of days were like years, really. You know, you couldn't get them in quick enough. But you know, I suppose it's any situation, you know, if you're finishing work or whatever, you would feel the same, you know, for your last couple of days in your job or whatever. But the last few days was really, you know, it was sort of surreal feel about the place, and it was, you know, it was a lot of joy in that as well, you know, when you're talking to your family on the phone, you know, all the things they planned for you, what you were going to do, etc. You know. We came back and I came back and I think it was the H3 to visit you know, one of the lads who was charged with killing Billy Wright. But it was the same thing, you know, we didn't get onto the wing. They kept us out there on the circle, and you know, he came out. But it was a sort of surreal thing, and because I wasn't that long out, and you know, the memories were still fresh. But you still, you know, you're in the back of the blacked out van, you know, you still sort of felt like a prisoner, you know, you know, that sort of psychology of it. But they, you know, things was even more relaxed then, you know. You used to just come in here and fill buckets and buckets of water, you know, when it was your turn to clean it. Like, you know, it was great. Just splash the place out, you know.
Short